Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a brand new offering from Mongoose Traveler 2nd, The Order of Prometheus by Martin J. Doherty. Don't worry, this is going to be as spoiler-free as I can make it. However, if you're worried about any kind of information on this, I recommend you tune out now. I am going to be showing where the adventure is placed and a little bit about the area. I'm not going to go into the adventure itself because frankly it's just too good to waste in a review video. I want to have everybody have a chance to read this thing, maybe even run it. So it may be a long time before I actually review this entire adventure. But this thing is absolutely more than an adventure, and I'll explain that as I go through it. If you look at the traveler map behind me, I'll scooch out of the way. We are centered primarily around this area, Palermo. We are deep in the Solomani Rim. We are rimward, or south, if you will, of Terra. So we are in Solomani space. Oh my gosh, how are Imperials going to work down there? Well, that's kind of what's neat about this. It's not necessarily assuming you're Imperials. In fact, it's pretty much assuming you're Solomani. So if you're this deep in Solomani space, instead of calling it exotic like an Imperial would, you'd call it home. That's what I liked about this. We get a nice look at a lot of things in the Solomani controlled area. This would be the area outside of what the Imperium controls. So I'm going to take a good look at the beginning of the Order of Prometheus, touch a little bit, just a tiny bit on what the Order is, and that's pretty much going to be it. The rest of this is going to be up to you to read and possibly run. I think this is a really cool idea. I think this is a really well done adventure. And I'm going to explain that it's really more than an adventure. So we're going to touch on all of that in just a moment. Also, real quick, my standard pledge, or pledge drive, whatever you want to call it. Hey, come on, subscribe. Let's keep the channel growing. It's growing great. I want to keep it growing. This helps me be able to continue to make these videos. Also, I have on Patreon, I have some rewards there, but I also have a poll, and the poll is free. Please take a look at the poll. I'm looking for feedback on what games to feature other than the ones I've been doing on page 121. I have 7 or 8 different choices on there, including Alternity, Champions, Space Master. I have access to all these games, and I've run all these games. Battletech is also one of the choices. So please take a look at the poll. I'm really interested in your feedback. The poll will be running until the end of the month. Okay, that's it. End of the commercial. Back to the important stuff. Order of Prometheus, brand new from Mongoose Traveler, 2nd edition. Today on page 121. All right, the Order of Prometheus. This guy just came out for download just a few days ago before I made this video. I picked it up right away and I've been reading it and I've enjoyed what I've read so far. This is very well done. Again, Martin Doherty is our author. Martin does great work in world building. We get the intro here. I'm going to build, yeah, there you go. I'm not going to do too much as far as what the story is. I'm just going to show a little bit about the background. What Martin's done is he's done what he does best, in my opinion. He does some great world building. And these are all the places you'll be going in the course of the adventure. But what he did also was give us more than just an adventure. This is actually a sandbox. You could actually take this as a source book of how to run a game in the Solomani Rim, in the Solomani-controlled space. Solomani security, ooh, the boogeymen. They've been boogeymen in the Imperium since I've been around in Traveler. We get a nice look at Solsec, Solomani security, Solsec. We get a nice look at it in here, and it gets very humanized. We meet many people who are involved with Solsec. We may be working with them, we may be working against them. That's one of the things I like about this adventure. Ton of agency for your characters. They can choose the direction. This is truly a find your own path adventure. It takes place in the Aldebaran sector, and we get a little look at the Aldebaran sector, just a nice overview, and then the Wovoka subsector. And then we get a look at a lot of nice individual planets. That was what the map I had up on the in the intro. That was the Traveler map that I had the intro on, and this is the map out of the book. This is just fun. I was really excited reading this. This is a genuine page turner for me. I have always liked the Salamani Sphere, but they've always been the boogeymen, the bad guys in my game. Anytime I've run anything toward the area, toward rimward of the Imperium, they've been the bad guys, and they're thought of as these elitist jerks that think they're better than everyone and are prejudiced against everyone and think aliens being any non-human race, are inferior to them, etc. And all of that is addressed in this book, and all of it is true to a point. Just because they think they're better than someone doesn't mean that they're bad people. It might just mean that they're better than someone. That's kind of the point the author makes in this, and I really enjoyed that. It brought it home very nicely for me. Bigotry is very, very subjective, and we get a nice look at that here. We also get a look at the different subsectors that we're going to be adventuring in, and then we get the Palermo cluster where most of the adventure takes place. The author does some really nice work fleshing these worlds out and giving us a real breathing world to play in on most of these. You could easily take this adventure, this offering, and pull the entire Prometheus end of it out, and you wouldn't lose anything. You could just use this as some outer space to play in. You don't need to have the adventure, but that being said, the adventure is really good. It takes us over some terrain that's a little less trodden for Traveler, but it's definitely been walked before. There's a nice little almost Cthulhu feel to this one, not implying that there's magic or anything in it, because there's not. It just kind of gave me a nice little Twilight Zone creepy feel, and I liked that. I thought that was something that the Traveler has used from time to time, but not something that's used often. And I really enjoyed it in this presentation. So the Society of Prometheus, all I'll say about them is what the world knows is that they're this group that gathers and has all these kind of weird beliefs, and maybe the end of the universe is coming, maybe not. It all depends on which chapter you're in. And they're all kind of taken a little tongue-in-cheek by the public at large. But beneath the surface, there's a real agenda. And that's kind of neat. And the rest of this book deals with what the agenda is and how the players are going to be dealing with it. And now we start getting down to what they'll be doing. And I'm not going to go any further into the book. I'm on page 12. About the first 16 pages or so are just on the worlds and the world building. And then the adventure starts. Not only do you get nice world building in this, you get a really good adventure, very coherent, far-flung, long-term adventure. You could run 7 or 8 gaming sessions out of this book easily. You also get very fleshed out NPCs. We actually get full profiles of the NPCs, which I realize is nothing new for Traveler, but it was nice to see full profiles, including Salsec agents. And again, you may be working with them, you may be working against them. We get new equipment in here. We get a new ship. We get all kinds of goodies in here. I'm very pleased with this. I'm delighted to have bought it. As soon as I started reading this, I thought, well, I've got to do this, but I can't do it with spoilers. So I decided to do this format of a video on it. It's really just because I like it. I don't work for Mongoose. I've only met Martin in that interview he and I did a few weeks ago for Fantasy Games Academy. I enjoyed him. I enjoyed my conversations with him before and after the interview. I found Martin to be a pretty engaging guy. But that had nothing to do with why I'm making this video. This is just a really good product that I recommend. The ebook is out now. The hardbound comes out, I think it was in June. I gotta confess, I didn't look that up right before I started making this video. I believe it's in June sometime. But that's the hardcover. This guy is a lot of fun. I'm excited about this. My Traveler campaign right now is Behind the Claw in the Spinward Marches. And then I'm thinking of starting up Pirates of Drinax. So I may just have to do some of this stuff in the Salamani Sphere as one-nighters here and there, just with a third Traveler group. And I've done that many times. But I'm really excited about this, and I'm excited about adventuring there. This is a chunk of charted space that I'm not really all that familiar with. I've read a lot of the Salamani stuff over the years, of course, and I've never really gone that deep beyond Terra. The Ruthless Veil subsector, of course, is below there, but that's not part of the Salamani Sphere. I've never gone to the Salamani Sphere below Terra. And of course, at this point, Terra is occupied by the Imperium, and the Salsec are the boogeymen to the Imperium, and the Solomani are nothing but elitist guys who think they're better than everyone. And that's all addressed in this book, and it's all kind of set aside. And I like how it was done. Again, I think Martin did a really good job here. Martin, great job. I'm gonna have to start the Martin J. Doherty fan club one of these days, because I do like your stuff. I think you're putting out some quality stuff for Traveler. So that's it. I hope I stayed spoiler free. I tried to. I don't think I gave up anything that's really inside this book. Nothing you wouldn't get in the first few pages anyway. And that's all I've got to say today. Order of Prometheus, if you're starting up a new Traveler campaign, definitely worth looking at. And if you'd want to play outside the Imperium, definitely worth looking at. So that's it. That's all I've got to say today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. I'd be interested in your comments, and please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you next time on page 121.